This is going to be on probably our #1 selling rake for us here. This is Enorosi's Bat Rake. This is what Mitch was talking about before when you looked at that Maximus rake and it lets them down lets them down together. This rake here will run one or the other. Whichever one's easier for it to do at the time is whichever one runs. Go ahead and shut her down then, BJ. Like I was saying, this rake here is probably our #1 selling rake. It is the most price-effective rake that we've got. Does a good job for us. It's got a lot of options on it that a lot of the other ones don't, but it does a great job. This is a 12 wheel. We can get this and that last one, we can get in an 8, 10, or a 12. You're basically looking at an 8, 10, or a 12 wheel here. It's just got more parts on it that you would take off. An 8-wheel rake for Enorossi, the only difference is it doesn't have this beam in it. This is bolted together there, and this whole front piece comes off, and you got 8 wheels on the back. It's basically the same setup as that, and then when you go to a 10-wheel, it's got the beam on the neck, and it's got 10 wheels. When you go to a 12-wheel, it's got that beam, and it's got 12 wheels on it. They're virtually identical looking, whichever size that you get. This rake here has no problem grabbing a 16-foot swather. If you're going to put 2 rows together with it, it has no problem grabbing that. We usually use the 14, on a 14-foot swather, we usually put the 10 wheel on it. And for 12-foot swathers or the drum mowers, we put the 8 wheels on there. This little rake is manually adjusted, the same exact thing that we were talking on the last one. You got to adjust your beam on your hitch to get your level across this beam so the rear and the fronts are hitting at the same time. You also have a pin on the main beams to where the main beams can slide out. I believe there's 8 holes worth of adjustment in here that you can change, and then you use the turnbuckles to adjust your rear windrow width on it. Once again, once this rake is set, it's a pretty darn simple little rake. You hook up to it and it goes to work and does what it needs to. One difference from this one, from that H&S that was just in here, you can get the H&S that we just seen, that action rake, you can get it with this independent setup that is on this particular rake. Each individual wheel of this are now independently adjusted from each other, and you can set the spring tension on each individual one of these wheels the same way you could on a Maximus. You can set all those independently. Some guys really like that. The more uneven your ground is, the more that's more of an important thing to you over the candy cane style rakes. I think on an H&S that adds about $1,200, isn't it? $1,500? About $2,000 to put independence on an H&S. But it is something that can be done if a guy's looking and he likes that H&S style rake over this. We can put that independent setup on that as well. This little rake, we've sold them now, I'm going to say around 2007-ish, and they've done us a good job. They've done a real good job for us. We've had, they did do a couple frame changes on it, but the new ones we have had virtually no problems with. They're, like I said, once you get them set, they do a real good job. Everything will work on it. The one issue that if you had something to kind of gripe on this setup, the hoses with this rake, they use banjo fittings on them. And they're one, if we blow a hose on that, that is something I can build you the hose, but there's very few places that can build a hose for that rake with those banjo fittings on it. That would be the only thing I would really fault on there. Other than that, that rake does a great job for us.